I'm very bad at keeping secrets, so I'm going to tell you something. I have a bit of a revelation. Trust me. I'm beginning to think I'm Jesus. And the reason is this. When I walk into the bars or the restaurants or the places where I'm known, when I walk in there, the patrons, they look at me and they see me come in and they turn, and then they turn away and they say, Jesus, he's back. So I love the people, I love common people. I have this idea. If I was the king of the world, the streets would be my palace and the people would be my treasure. And I'd walk amongst them every day. I am Joseph. I'm a son of the universe. I'm a servant of humanity. I'm a fellow human being who loves. And I'm on a quest. It might be the quest of a crazy overgrown leprechaun, or it might be a divinely inspired hero's journey. So all my life I've been running for myself. But now, well, a while back, I started coming back to myself. All this is part of my journey, returning to myself. I ran away to kill myself because I wasn't happy with my life, the decisions I made, the life I was living. I was harming myself. So I decided to kill myself. But I was a coward. So I decided I'd do it slowly. With righteous living. And all the things you shouldn't do, I said I'm going to do it. And I killed myself slowly. So I started marching into hell. Happily knowing I was destroying myself. Spiritually and physically at the same time. And I had one step to go, just one, and I would have been plucked by the one who plucks, and I'd have disappeared forever. And at that final step, I paused and hesitated, and I found something within myself, beautiful and worth living for. Could it be my soul? So I turned around and I started crawling, walking and marching out of hell that I had put myself into knowingly. Anyway, a funny thing happened. On the way out of hell, I was meeting people, and how I got out of hell was I realized I had to become zero, nothing. I became the zero. And as I'm marching out of hell, I'm the zero. And I'm meeting people along the way. And I'm saying, hello, I'm Joseph. I'm a son of the universe. I'm a servant of humanity. I am Joseph, your brother. I love you and I forgive you. I hope you do the same.
Asked Buddha, why aren't we enlightened? Why don't we understand? And Buddha told them, he said, I will tell you a story, so you all gather around me. And the disciples gathered around Buddha and waited eagerly for him to tell the story. And he told them the story of the lost son. And he said, "A long time ago, there was a householder's son who went away into a distant country. And while the father accumulated immeasurable riches, the son became miserably poor. And the son, while searching for food and clothing, happened to come to the country in which his father now lived. The father saw him in his wretchedness, for he was ragged and brutalized by poverty, and ordered some of his servants to call him. When the son saw the place to which he was conducted, he thought, 'I must have evoked the anger of a powerful man, and surely he will throw me into prison.' Full of apprehension, he made his escape before he had even seen his father. So the father sent messengers out after his son, who was caught and brought back in spite of his. Thereupon the father ordered his servants to deal tenderly with his son, and he appointed a laborer of his son's rank and education to employ him as a helpmate on the estate. And the son was pleased with his new situation. From the window of his palace, the father watched the boy day in, day out, and when he saw that he was honest and industrious, he promoted him higher and higher. After a year had passed, he summoned his son and called together all his servants, and made the secret known to them, the secret that the poor man was his son. The poor man tearfully looked into his father's eyes, and at this moment, he was full of joy, he was full of understanding, he was full of life.
I've been missing for the last 19 years. And in that time, I thought a lot, searched a lot, and looked at people, looked at other people. And there was another man missing for many, many years, so they say, I don't know. Christ. I don't know where he was. So I was thinking of him in my missing years. And I was kind of taking myself apart to put myself back together. This might not make sense to anybody, but it makes sense to me. I know. I was born, I was planted, and I led a life that I led. I don't know if I was fully conscious of it at the time, but I was maybe I was carried along through the life. And all through the life I had a different name. I was born with one name and given it, but I was never let live that name. And after 50 years, 49 years, I made a prayer and I took back my name, and my name is Joseph and was Joseph. And when I made that prayer and took upon my own name, a change started happening within me. And I think I'm a new person, a new creation. So I have many sins and many regrets and much damage in my past life. And all I can say is I apologize and I ask for forgiveness. inconspicuous in the city. I have a friend, a Sufi friend, and every time I meet him he gives me the same advice. He says, have fun, be quiet. So I've been having the fun. Being quiet is the problem for me. But he doesn't have the extra bits of the puzzle that I have. So there's a reason for everything. Anyway, it's a beautiful day. I just had a great lesson taught to me before because I kind of spoke wrongly to somebody. I was a little bit angry. And they were very angry. But then someone else said to me, you said, you gotta say sorry. I said, but I think I was in the right. No, you were wrong. And on reflection, I was wrong. So later I'm gonna wash their feet and say sorry. Right now I'm building up to have the real sorry to come out of me. I still have a little bit of ego attached to it. But that'll disappear as soon as I finish sweeping. And my sorry will be genuine sorry. And my lesson will be a genuine lesson. Because I really appreciate the tough teachers in my life. Tough. Give me a hard time. But sometimes we need hard times. And I'm one of those guys that probably need a lot of hard times. That's okay. I enjoy it. Sunshine. Freedom. Freedom isn't out there. Freedom is in here. In your heart. I'm very free. Chaotic goodness. Chaotic goodness. How beautiful is that?
And don't spend your time looking around for something you want that can't be found. When you find out you can live without it and go along not thinking about it, I'll tell you something true. The bare necessities of life will come to you. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities. That's why a bear can rest at ease with just the bare necessities of life. Yeah, with just the bare necessities of life.
Several months ago, a friend in religious life told me that she didn't want to be poor. And I was very refreshed by her honesty, and the conversation sent me to re-examine the meaning of poverty. Because poverty of itself has no intrinsic value, so of course we don't want to be poor. But spiritually, poverty is important because it expands our capacity for God. Being empty, we must await all from Him. And so the poor are particularly blessed because they live in the state of radical readiness and dependence on the Father who does not disappoint.
So I don't think there's anybody who could deny that I've been inspired. But the question is, have I been inspired by divinity or insanity? Probably a bit of both. Anyway, I meet a lot of people on my walk in the world. And I was walking through a shopping centre called Pier 21. And I'm very observant. I'm a people watcher. And inside the shopping centre there's a big statue of an angel. And under the angel, there's people sit around it, you know. And there was one guy there, and I could see he looked tired, and he had bags under his eyes. So I went and I sat next to him. I said, hey, I'm Joseph. I said, why you look so tired? What's going on? He said, oh, I just flew in from the States, he said. Jet lag. I said, oh, yeah. So I just started talking to him about the way I walk with the book, meet people, collecting positive energy, positive thoughts. And he says to me, what's that? I looked up at the statue, I said, it's an angel. You know what he said to me? He said, I'm an angel too, Joseph. I said, give me your book. I believed him, of course. So I gave him the book and I gave him the pen. And he wrote this. He wrote this. Joseph, to the journey that involves never-ending openness and the ability to connect all people, I salute your vibrancy and the idea of spreading goodness to one and all. Here's to dreams realized. And I am Joseph. I really am. But I started going out with the books. There was a referendum in Ireland where they legalised abortion. And that kind of set me off. Because at that time something happened to me in my head, because there was people out there were cheering, because before that abortion, the unborn child was protected in the Irish Constitution. Follow the signs. This one. Collecting positive energy and positive thoughts. Yeah, you open things of endless. Is there a place near you called Bethlehem?
Yes, there is. I went to.
You see?
Yes.
My journey is about resurrection and rebirth.
I went to grad school in Bethlehem.
How did you study?
Policy.
I forgive you. There's a guy one time and he said to me, he met a guy in the train, and he said to me, you have to be wary about politics and religion, but it's good to pray. Hey, how are you? Christmas every day.
This is my fiance, Nancy.
Oh, I tell you, Nancy, how are you?
Joseph.
There's nobody good but God. You're trying to be good. Okay? We all have to try to be good. So the point is this. He's a very lucky man.
I'm here what?
You're a very lucky man.
Oh, I am?
How many children are you going to have?
I don't know if my body's ready yet.
Wait, I fixed that.
Where's that one? Where's that one?
Oh dear.
3
I'm not sure
times.
what's going on here now.
What is it? What do you think it is?
Looks like a magic wand or something.
There you go. Okay.
Oh, perfect. There you go.
Booked already. Inconspicuous in the city. I'm a servant of humanity. I'm a fellow human being who loves. I walk around in the world as a human being who loves. And I'm happy and I'm smiling. I carry a book. And the minute I pull out my book, I think, oh, Jesus, it's a Bible. It's not a Bible, it's a blank book. I walk around with a blank book and an open mind. And I have this weird idea that everyone I meet can teach you something. Teach me something. So I offer them the page and the pen. I say, write something positive in the book. Simple and positive. And that's it, it's beautiful. And people from all over the world have wrote in the book. And if somebody writes in Japanese, I say, don't tell me what you wrote. And I got 2 choices. I can Google it to find out, or I can walk around until I meet somebody else in Japan and I say, hey, I'm Joseph. I'm in the universe. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to do something now most people think is impossible. Shut the fuck up and walk away.
I never thought he could do it.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to show you my passport. Yeah, I'll get my passport. Give me something again. How much Santa Claus? What did you say, Santa? Say slowly. They say the clouds are lower in Ireland. I say Ireland is closer to heaven. The kingdoms of the world, the king is like a pyramid. The king is on the top and the people are on the bottom. In this land, it's upside down. The people are on the top and the king is on the bottom. And I got my farm. His soul swooned slowly as he heard the snow falling faintly through the universe, and faintly falling like the descent of the last end upon all the living and the dead.
How are you? I'm my best friend. How are you?
I'm alive, I'm free, I'm happy. I have my magic wand.
Oh, wait till you look at your mother. She's coming. She's going this way. She's going this way. She's going. No, I love this guy. I love him for fucking ever.
You meet this guy?
Oh, fucking. 7 years ago. 7 years ago. I met this guy. I don't know. He's fucking crazy. Fuck. But you know what? Anyway, he's a fucking unit. Fucking straight on. And I trust this guy. I would trust this guy with my life. How about that?
That's good, I trust you.
And I trust you too.
Christmas every day,
Every
mate.
day.
Christmas every day.
Nice day every day. Put it like this, put it like that, put it like that, put it like that. Oh, please. I've left the wall now after my walk amongst the people. And I'm on the outskirts of my village. I gotta head in. Very few people will understand my journey. That's okay, I don't mind. I understand it. It's between me and God. What are you doing, Joseph? I'm doing good. G-O space D. I'm doing good. Born in Ireland, third of 7 children.
7 brothers and sisters.
No, I have 5 brothers, 2 sisters. I was the third. I was the one who looked most like my father. My mother hated my father, so it kind of trickled down to hating me. So I had a kind of a tough relationship with my mother. I love my mother. I'm sure she loves me somewhere in there. But when she looked at me, she didn't see me, she saw my father. So that led to many difficulties in my childhood. And I was very in my head a lot. I think a lot, and I'd be quiet. Unlike now, where I find it hard to be quiet. But when I was young, I was very quiet, and I was in my head. And I'd hold things in a lot. And they could stew in my head, or expand and grow into things where they shouldn't have gone, you know, they went places where they shouldn't have gone. But that's all then.
So you were a lonely child?
Yeah, I was lonely. I was in a family, I was in a busy house, but my father was gone. My mother was young, she had 7 children by the time she was 27. So she was often gone, and we'd be alone. My older brother, he'd take care of us. My mother could be gone for a week at a time. She'd come back. But in that time, God only knows what happened in the house. All the guys from around the streets would come in. They'd be stealing barrels of beer, bring them into our house. All sorts of shit. For the Levi's. And they give you nice shoes and a nice shirt and a nice jumper. And they speak kindly with you. And they bring you down through all these corridors and they put you into a room. And they lock you in. And they tell you you're there for 2 days. They observe you. There's a little hatch in the wall. And they look at you. For 2 days. You can't come out. And I was always running. So when I was in there, I couldn't run. And there was a book on the bed. And I never read a book because I never sat still. And the book was called I Am David. And it was about a 12-year-old boy in a concentration camp. And he knew nothing, only the concentration camp. He grew up in that environment. He didn't know any other environment. And anyway, I started reading the book. And the lights were out at 10 o'clock. And I wanted to complete reading the book. So I leaned against the window because there was floodlights outside the window. And I was leaning against the window with the book. And I read the book that night. And he was helped escape from the concentration camp. And then he was helped along his journey. His journey was to get back to his mother. He thought he was an orphan. He didn't even know his mother was alive. But part of the story was somebody painted him because he had an interesting face. He was a child. But his eyes, stood out because his eyes saw a lot of things that his young life shouldn't have seen. And people could see it in his eyes. In his eyes, he was an old man. And somebody painted him, wanted to paint him. Paint his portrait. And there was a portrait of a woman on the wall. And she escaped from a concentration camp as well. And that was his mother. So it's a kind of it's a journey, you know. Sometimes I think like that as well, that I grew up in an environment and a life that was my personal concentration camp. And I didn't know anything about a world outside of it until I got outside of it. Then I saw a different world with different people, you know. And my world was in Thailand. I was in many countries, but I was always alone, felt alone. But for me, my new world was Thailand. I never believed in God, but I was born in a Catholic country. But I never believed in God because I see nothing Christian about anyone around me. But when I was in Thailand, a Buddhist country, where they don't believe in God, I believed in God by looking at the people. By looking at the people. Welcoming each other, helping each other. Family. I'm from a family. It's supposed to be Ireland's a big family, but I was never from a family. I was never part of a family. But I became part of a family in Thailand. I became born again in Thailand. Born a new human being, a better human being. I might have lost my mind along the way, shattered everything, my psyche and everything. My whole goal, my whole life is to become a better human being. That's it. Become a better human being. Ben Adam, as they say.
This person, the black sheep, who was forced into the shadows, is the one most likely to have learned to look at everything from a different perspective. This is the one most likely to see the truth when others don't. Since they're the ones that have already dealt with the unpleasantness of isolation, they'll have no trouble seeing an inconvenient or negative truth either. Unpleasantness isn't hard to the black sheep. They're the kind of people we need more of in the world. The black sheep, or the run of the litter, is not the weakest member of the group. No, this is a shining soul. From their forced isolation and rejection, they've developed a keen sense of self and ability to be alone. And they've developed a brand of intelligence others have trouble understanding. As they watch the world from the sidelines, they've learned to think outside the box because they were thrown out of that box the moment they were born. They view everything from a different angle than the rest. And this gives them a keen edge in the process of thought. They weren't rejected because they were weak. They were rejected because they were strong. Strong enough that they didn't conform. Therefore, they were a threat to the status quo. They were not going to conform because conforming would be denying the truth. Yes, the world needs more black sheep because they're the ones who will shine the light on truth. They have no fear of isolation. They've been isolated their entire lives.
What's it all about? Being comfortable with myself. Who am I? Nobody. Everybody. Have I somebody to teach? Have I something to learn? What's my goal? What's my destination? Life, not as you know it, but as I know it, in my own special kind of well, we'll leave that for another day. Time will tell. Time tells all things. Time will tell. Peace, love, compassion. Enjoy some songs. Listen to some poetry. Sit quietly. Laugh. Do something today you never dreamed of doing. Just step over the line of what you normally do. Step in. Enjoy it. Enjoy the moment. Collect moments, not things. Collect beautiful moments. Everywhere you walk, look for moments of joy, of happiness, of unusual encounters. They're probably the best. So, a rabbi said one time, God created man because he loves stories. So I'm a story. Everyone is a story. And I won't go linear, but my story now and here now in the city of angels, gods and immortals. My name is Joseph. And I identify as I'm a son of the universe. I'm a servant of humanity. I'm a fellow human being who loves. How did I get here? I'm part of another story. In another part of the world, where there was two brothers. A younger brother and an older brother. And something happened. And somebody died. And the older brother was sent to prison. And the younger brother went on a journey. And this started because the older brother was released from prison after 17 years. He had cancer and he died. And I'm Joseph. And I know about Joseph, and 17 years has been very important. And it's important to me. Because I am Joseph, part of these stories. And I walk around with blank books. And I meet people. So people say to me, Joseph, you're a bit out there. I say, I'm not a bit out there, I'm way out there. And then they ask me, did you ever take magic mushrooms or acid? I tell them the truth, no. I'm like this, the old-fashioned way. Misery and suffering, and learning how to overcome it. Be like the Buddha. Actually, I'd be afraid to take them in case it became normal.
when you feel sad or under a curse, your life is bad, your prospects are worse, your wife is sighing, crying, and your olive tree is dying. Temples are graying and teeth are decaying and credit is weighing your purse. Your mood and your robe are both the deep blue. You'd bet that Job had nothing on you. Don't forget that when you get to heaven, you'll be blessed. Yes, it's all for the best.
Some men are born to live at ease, doing what they please, richer than the bees are in honey. Never growing old, never feeling cold, pulling pots of gold from thin air. The best in every town, best at shaking down, best at making mountains of money. They can't take it with them, but what do they care? They get the center of the meat, cushions on the seat, houses on the street where it's sunny. Summers at the sea, winters warm and free, all of this and we get the rest. But who is the land for? The sun and the sand for? You guessed, it's all